Hey y'all, hey! Every time I look at my little lopsided chair when I go for the playback, I was like, it ain't even sitting up straight, but it's a very comfortable chair. Hey y'all, come on and sit on the stoop. Come on the stoop. Thank you very much. I can't use, because I got the thing here to turn it down. I can't use, because I'm sure Funky Geneva coined it and registered it, but I'm just telling you for real, when I first moved to Bed-Stuy, 352A Hancock Street, my neighbor next door on the top floor was Vanessa. And I would call Vanessa, you and the kids going to come out, because I think she had like 2 or 3 kids, and they would come down and I would bring my daughter. I lived on the ground floor in the Brownstone next door, and I would come and sit outside with my daughter. Or sometimes I would call up Vanessa, Nessa. That's what Martin called her. Martin called her Nessa. I call her Vanessa. And I said, Vanessa, I'm going to be sitting outside. You're going to send the kids down? And so that's how it is. And I'm so tempted when I come here, when I put it together, because that was over 40 years ago. So much of life has happened to me. So y'all come on, sit on the stoop, because I'm finna talk to y'all about, I hate looking at my shirt like that. I'm going to tell you all about, how I came in the community, how I had forgotten my initial introduction into the community, and what a positive impact the LGBTQ community had on this 22-year-old woman, just coming from a South Carolina Baptist cult. Okay, just call me what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, no. Okay, so that's the Bed-Stuy, that's the Bed-Stuy Brownstone Stories part of it. And it has to do with a girl named Martin. And the second half I had to change, because when bad things happen to you, you get thrown for a loop. Knock, knock, anybody home? When good things happen to you, you're thrown for a loop too. So, just either way. So, I got a good loop thrown at me. And as I looked at the Maddie in the morning, I turned out. I mean, woke up the next morning and was like, I missed turned out. Why did I put it on my calendar? It's, like this. Honey. The cult people used to, that's the foundation of my grandmother's Baptist cult. Whipping yourself, self-thinking, putting yourself down and all that kind of stuff. That's all part of it. And so that's the first part of the Bed-Stuy Brownstone parties. The second part is I had to change it. Like I said, such good news. I'm still, it's still reverberating. But it's great news. But like I said, it hits the same. I didn't know that. I thought good news hit one way and bad news hit the other way. They both are jolts of electricity that blows you off track. So Just one is good and the other one I'm used to. What I'm not used to, and the other one I'm used to. That's what it basically comes down to. So I had to change it. And what I've been reading is, you see, I was going to try to get to the end before I talk about it. I'm at page 127. I'm about halfway through. Blaine's book. So, am I holding it upside down? Okay. Timothy Blaine. And I'll tell you how this all came about. So, thanks for coming on the stoop, y'all. Thanks for coming on the stoop. So, for those who are just coming the first time, welcome. Those who are coming back, got more to tell, honey. So, this part, when I was 21, 22-year-old, I had my daughter, and I think I was divorced by then or separated. And I was living on Hancock Street, 352A Hancock Street, between Troop and Tompkins. And I would sit down, like I said, like with Vanessa. And Martin would come by. So it was Vanessa who would always, and she said, "Hey, Martin." And Martin said, "Hey, Nessa." And then, who's that? Who's that? And then she said, back then the F word was used. And I was like, oh. But Vanessa, it's a very hateful word. It is, but then it was used to, I don't know, she didn't think to say gay. Anyway, so, but then Martin would come over and then he would talk to me, and then plain Jane, like me, like Gray, plain Jane, and he would look at me and he would say, "Girl, if you put a little blush to or sometimes he would say, you have good bone structure." I mean, every time I saw him, he complimented me on a beauty that I was like, he don't only want to see it. And when Martin, when she would come over to me, I guess she would look at me as a blank canvas. And in her head, she would say, well, you know what? I'm going to put some eye makeup on her. So eventually, it did happen. Eventually, from the nails to the makeup, to the oatmeal paste, the everything, to go into trying on clothes, to perfumes, and it's like every time he would come over, he would look at me as his canvas, because to him women were beautiful. Excuse me, women was beautiful, and that's why Martin loved being a woman. Now, for me at the time, it wasn't the same thing. I've been in the cult. I've been with my grandmother in her cult for about 5 years. As far as beating you down, as far as being a woman is concerned, I knew that my only purpose, or the best, maybe, okay, say if I take away only purpose, but the best way for me to make the universe happy, or to make, as they say, the higher power, the one higher power. The cults, they have that, it was for me to be subservient to a man, to take care of a man, to and it was important for me to learn to cook for a man, to do a man's clothes, to take care of a man, to take care of a man's house, to have a man, everything, everything in my grandmother's code was to learn how to take care of a man. And then along the way, I can take care of myself too. But I had to be long suffering. I had to be long suffering. So I wonder if this is, I had to be long suffering. And expect nothing out of life, though I had dreams. They couldn't take it out of me. And that's the thing about that cult. They beat at you, beat at you. You have to be smart enough to find one thing. And let me tell you something. Cults love money. So the minute I could get my working papers to work after school, I worked after school. And it was okay. It was okay. I could miss church for work. Money, honey. Money. Money trumps. JC, the Trinity, and all that stuff, money. So that's how I got out of the cult. I also volunteered. So that was the first thing I did because I had to get references to get a job. Even I knew that much from being in New York. So I volunteered first. And only place in the hospital, my grandmother always wanted to be a nurse. That's why I love young people. I was a teenager and I was working it out for my future, how to get away from that cult, honey. I see these teenagers now, you think the way to do it is to show out and to show up and show out. Honey, the best thing to do is to go along with it, get along and do your thing, pleasing them, helping you. Okay? So my grandma was very proud that I was a candy stripe, and I knew she would be. So that instantly cut down some of my cult activity. Okay? Oh, she volunteers, she's helping the sick. You remember? This is a cult. They let the help the sick thing. Loved it. That's what got me out. But still through it all, and even when I came out the cult, I couldn't just stop. I had to go to another cult that she didn't like in order to stop attending any cult. But through it all, like spaghetti, you throw enough on the wall, it sticks. And it stuck to me. And the thing that stuck to me the most is how being a subservient woman is the way that I make God happy. I'm just going to put it out there because that's what I make God, Jesus, everybody happy as long as I'm a subservient woman. If I think about myself, I am a selfish woman. I'm supposed to think about my husband. I didn't go for that because before I came down, I had my mother came from Virginia and she was a tough cookie. She dated to put her and my sister in a car and drive from Virginia to New York and drop her off at her mother and father's house in Harlem. She did that. She also told me, don't never let them see you cry, frown, or nothing like that. Keep a smile on your face, like try to keep a positive attitude. And don't let no man put their hands on you. So that's the first 13 years of my life. Yeah, 12 years. Oh, hi. And that's how it was. That's what women were. So they kept throwing it at me. 5 years. I had at least 2 years of it on me. At least 2 years before I've started with the volunteering and cut down my cult time. And then I started working, and money always trumps cults. Always trump cults. And if you tell her that you got to work, but you give her a little extra money and a little extra money to put in the basket at church, you don't got to show up at all. Money always trumps Trump. See, you got to think. So this is what Martin met. You know, you got to be able to take a punch. That's what I saw from being in my grandmother's cult. I had to sit when I went. I had to sit in church every Sunday and literally be called a whore, like Mary Magdalene. I can't help myself. Then the Sundays that I wasn't called a whore, or in relation to Sundays that I was called a whore, I was also called the reason why all the world's troubles. Because I made, as a woman, some dude named Adam eat an apple and get kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And it was all my fault. Now, in life, other than giving them sex, you can't make men do nothing. So even as a young adult, I used to think I said, did Eve give Adam some poo-poo? And that's what happened? That's what came out of the garden? That's what you're saying? They screwed? And she got pregnant? But look what they called it. They called it a curse. And they said she did it. And they blamed her. And every Sunday, I would have to go there. Then there's this chick named Ruth. Ruth did something bad. Ruth got turned into a pillow of salt. So I had to take that. Every Sunday. And if we went during the week, every day during the week. Then I was a sinner. I was never going to be anything good. So that's why I had to continuously come to church, give my money and everything to this cult, so that eventually on earth, I'm never going to be anything. Born a sinner. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I had some of my protein drink, so my stomach would be growing. Because I didn't want to eat a whole meal. Anyway. So, this is what I heard all the time. Child, it was having a baby. It was, oh, how wonderful. Oh, this is joyous. It was more like, oh, yeah, she done got herself knocked up. Oh, sheep. It was like, ugh. It's like, wow. Because it's a curse. Now, when the pastor was going around there rubbing and touching up on us, that was okay. And when I reported him to my father, my sperm donor, who went behind my back, and I told y'all about that whole setup, and I was a bad person. I was told to stay away from the pastor. I made his shoulder rub against my breast. I made his penis scrape my butt. I did it because I'm Eve. See what I'm saying? Now, you can't, from what I see now, you can't make these men go to work. Trust me, you can't make them pay child support. Please. Okay, let's talk about pattern. You can't get them to wear masks. They're killing their wives faster than anything else. Better than a gun. Better than poison. Just don't wear no mask, get no COVID, and chances are he'll survive, but the wife will die. Can't get him to do anything. Can't get him to take vitamins. Can't get him to diet and exercise. But Eve got him to eat the apple. And now that's the curse of all women. Oh, also another curse. This is what Martin meant. This is the woman that Martin meant. It was a curse. My menstrual cycle was a curse. It was the worst thing that could ever happen to a woman. So for years, because see, you throw enough spaghetti on the wall, it's going to stick. That stuck with me when you hear it all the time. So that's the woman that Martin met. So I remember when she came over and we're talking, I like the deer in the headlight look. I looked at Martin, I was like, why do you want to be a woman? Like, that is the worst thing you could ever be. Remember, I just came out the Baptist cult. The worst thing you could ever be. You are long and suffering. And when I think back on it, Martin must have looked at me like, what is wrong with this? It was this girl. And she was like, the best thing in the world is being a woman. And I looked at Martin, and I never heard anyone say that. Never. Even my mother, who passed, who said, don't let a man touch you, laugh, don't let him see you cry. You know, you go to school, study the whole 9 yards. But she never really, because she came out of a cult too, out of Virginia, she never really talked up the wonderfulness of being a woman. She talked about being a woman as a hardship also. And then I went to stay maybe 2 years with my Muslim father, who beat his wife and anybody else who got in his way. Horrible man. And he made being a woman horrible, just the way he talked to my stepmother. All his 3 girls, his first 3 children are girls that he made. My stepmother must have been so happy when the scientists came out and finally proved to my father that he is the one that made the girls. See, it was okay for men to beat women when they had girls because they thought it was the woman's fault for giving them that curse, the curse of a woman, the curse of bringing forth into this world a woman. He had nothing to do with it. That's the thing with cults. Men have nothing to do with it. They just get all the reward and glory. They're like bystanders who always win the race. And in cult world, that's the way it is. They're just supposed to stand in a chair and make sure everybody do what they're supposed to do. And then he gets all the glory, and then he doesn't like it. He goes ape. This is just what comes, So that's who Martin meant. And she was talking about how wonderful it is. And, as we went on and, we're doing stuff and, oh, he had little hands, but oh, you have little hands and these little, and he was the one that talked about, putting on fake nails, and we went and got the lead press-ons and the whole 9 yards. He spoke makeup because she wanted to bring the woman, Martin, she wanted to bring her woman out. I'm working on my terminology. Wanted to bring the woman out. And I was like, no, it's horrible being a woman. What do you mean? What do you mean? I couldn't get that to my head. And Martin had to say it again and again. Oh, your breath is so good. I used to, in my grandmother's coat, we had to wear these, what my grandma said, nothing could jiggle. You couldn't jiggle. You couldn't jiggle. So you had these Playtex bras that started top, and they had this long thing like the shark's ribs, bones, and you had these girdles. If she wouldn't buy you a pair of sneakers or shoes, she'd buy you a girdle. No jiggling. That's what she said. Nothing can jiggle. No jiggling. So you had to be wrapped tight, especially when you went to church. And I guess because she had to, because she was always around men. And at that church, everybody bumped into me. It's like we spent all our time like turning and dodging men bumping into you. Or no matter how much room it was, they always had to be close enough to take the dinglings and have it scrape across your butt. And you turn around and look like, what? But everybody saw it, nobody said anything. And that's when I started, that's the cult thing. That's molestation. That's nasty. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get out of it. I couldn't wait to get away from it. It was horrible. So that's what Martin was looking at. And she was telling me how wonderful it is to be a woman and how beautiful I am. So she used to take it. So again, I'm here. I'm married and everything. And I'm still buying those, I guess they call it women gladiator bras. Martin was so funny. He said, girl, them things is pointing at me. And he was like, first time he said, you don't mind. You're all right. And I was like, and he would get near underneath that bra and he would maneuver and move these breasts around. And in that bra, instead of pointing guns, I don't know how he did it. He rounded everything out. And he said, men are so jealous. They want breasts more than anything. He said, they want your breasts. And I believe today, and he said another one too, he said, men are so jealous that they cannot have children and you can. They hate your womb. They hate that part about you. And I was like, really, Martin? Really? But like I said, when I got 50 and lived in Mount Vernon, and if I met 5 women, 2 ain't had no titties, 2 ain't had no womb, and 1 was diabetic, and I'm just telling you the truth. So he ain't never did lie. He ain't never did lie. And that's why I believed him, and that's why I still got everything I got. Well, that's the Bed-Stuy story part. That goes so fast, and I really didn't even get to the point good. But that's my introduction. And years later, I don't know why I'm into the LGBTQ. I don't know why I'm signing my petitions. I'm donating my cash when I can for a cause. I don't miss anything on the topic of LGBT from the bathroom, especially. especially for the transgender woman. Very into it. And I didn't know why, because it had been, by then, I was 25, 6 years, Martin, 26. 25 years later, I'm all into the community again, all into it, all, and don't know why. And it's because for me as a woman, a young, battered woman coming out of a cult, Martin was the woman that I met that said to me, women are beautiful. He loved being a woman. He loved everything about his femininity. He loved the freedom of a woman. And of course, I'm sitting there saying, freedom? Where do you get that from? We supposed to be scrubbing something, cooking something, do. That's where I came from. I came from the cult where men sit back there, they say, like Archie Bunker, eat it, get my beer, eat it, put the food on the table, eat it, clean the stairs, eat it. That's where I came from. I was an eat it. And then I met Martin. And she was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful queen in transition. Just beautiful. And love, 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 love. So that's that part. That's it. I always have to be first because I never knew if anyone came through, come back again. I'm supposed to say all that stuff. But I mean, I'm an old woman, just going on record why I love the community. Don't go around saying black women, oh black, well, they can't stand the gay, oh black. That's not true. Not true. I'm not a cult member. I'm not. Though it has taken me at least 40 years to climb out of the cult mentality. It's not easy unshackling those chains. I didn't put my daughter in those chains. I told her it was part of the culture of African American, and she got to know how to say things. She got to know when she around African American people to not to take credit for nothing that she do. To give all the credit, I'd say it was only you got to say it's but the Lord, only the Lord do it. She said, only the Lord do it. I said, only the Lord, only Jesus do it, only Jesus. You don't make the mistake and say, you know what I did, and I'm so. They turn on you. It's cold. You have to act a certain way, and you have to give your power over. I said, but we're not doing this. I'm just telling you how to act when you get with them. And she didn't understand it in the beginning, but as she became a young adult, she would say to me, Mommy, I see what you're saying. Because at times she knew how to dress, like, won't he will. I woke up this morning not because I wanted to wake up. I will myself to wake up. Good. I'm happy that I woke up. You can't. You have to give it by the grace of God. I woke up. You got to give it away. And that's cults. And that's what I was. A cult member. Lovely remedy. That's what it was. But now I wake up every morning. I wake up every morning. And if I don't, then I don't wake up. But it's me. And that's what Martin was trying to tell me all those years ago. And I loved it, and I was fascinated, and we spent our years together. Even to taking me to the store and having the perfume lady spray perfume on me. I didn't know that stuff. Gathering clothes up and going in the waiting room and stuff like that. I knew that stuff. Because my cousins used to do that, but they used to come back with all stolen clothes. So that part I know. Ah, going to the makeup counters and doing the samples and stuff and collecting samples and stuff like that. I didn't know about that stuff. Martin taught me that stuff. Feeling good about myself, walking with some pride, lifting my head up. Martin, she taught me that. Any kid that I've had contact with over the years, where I've always said, put your head up, hold your head up, lift your head up, lift your head up, lift it. That came from Martin. She taught me that. My T.S. Martin was on the way. So you see, I can't go. When you go against the community, I can't take that trip with you. I will never take that trip with you. That community saved me as a woman, and I'm going to be put on record. My Martin, she changed me to be a proud woman, to love being a woman, to love being attractive. She was the first. You go, girl. She was my first. You go, girl. I never had a you go, girl. I never had a you go, girl. Martin, who's in transition, that woman on the inside, she wanted to bring it to the outside. And she loved it. And then she made me start loving me. Instead of looking at my legs saying, oh, and I used to say that. I got skinny ankles. I used to sprain my ankle all the time. And of course, in the cult, they used to say all the time how ugly I was. And you're knock-kneed and you're pitty-toed and you did that. And look how scarred your legs are there. So I never thought I had attractive legs. And then one day Martin said, girl, you got little ankles like me. I said, like, is that like, does that mean something? Is that, what does that translate to, Martin? He said dainty. He said curvaceous. He said, look, even now I'm going through, I said, I'm a leg person. I got to trace that back to Martin. She was the first one that said that. Curvaceous. You see how small your ankles is? And you see how small, he has small ankles for, but perfect ankles for a woman. And I was like, yes. And she was like, yeah, girl. And I think at that time when I got a little extra money, I bought me a little cheap, ragged little ankle bracelet. And Martin saw it and he said, yes, it brings out, do you see why I like the community? I ain't going against the LGBTQ community, not me. And I want to go on record. Don't throw me in there with them other old people. I ain't like that, honey. I throw them. I'll scrap with you for them, okay? So, my time is moving on. Okay, so now we're going to go to, because I had to change it. We're going to go to Timothy Blaine, Murder in the Beef Sector. So let me tell you how I found Timothy Blaine. It started with me being, my daughter says, Mommy, there's a show on TV, The Queen's Court. She says, it's funny, Mommy, and you're going to love T.S. Madison. I didn't know what T.S. Madison was. I didn't know anything. And the show came on 10 o'clock on Mondays. So the first time I looked at it, I looked at T.S. and I'm telling you, I didn't know them. I forgot about Martin. I didn't know where it came from, but I was instantly drawn to her. I loved her. I saw a big heart over her. I saw the love for women in T.S. Madison. I saw it. That's what Martin had. Yeah. Oh, so I was hooked. I would set the clock, wake me up, just like I'm sorry I didn't do on turned out, but I'll do for Tuesday at 8 o'clock this coming one. And I was instantly drawn. Oh my God. And her, and please don't sue me, Kaya together were wonderful. I laughed. I couldn't wait to see them. I to find out everything about them. I wonderful Miss Mary. The way they told their stories, how they went on, how they did their celebrity reporting. I mean, a scream. I loved it. And then that mean old nasty Monique came on. And it was a sad day. That mean old nasty Monique came on. And things with the camera and everything and da da da. I guess there was something in the background that I didn't know anything about. And all of a sudden, whoosh, whoosh, falls apart. And Tiffany, I love to this day. Tiffany, my daughter used to look at her and the thing of love, something to love, with the little raisin with the clock. And she came and got Maddie together. And when my daughter came back, she said, Mommy, 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 Maddie's back, Maddie's back, Maddie's back, Maddie's back. I was so happy. I was like, Maddie's back, Maddie's back. I was so happy. And then I saw Tiffany, and Tiffany was like, girl, I got your back. And I was like, I don't even want to start crying now. I was so happy. I was like, oh, Tiffany, girl, thank you. Because from my Martin had my back all the way through. And that's because he loved women. And T.S. Madison loved women. And Tiffany came through. Tiffany came through, bought her fan base, bought her woman realness. Oh, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So I stuck. Now, in between them breaking up, look at this. I tell you. I just love Tiffany. It was so good. So in between them breaking up, it was a lot of fighting back and forth. I didn't know what really had happened. And come to find out, it was something a little more than just Monique. But I had to go through the YouTubers to find out. So though I had only looked at the Queen's Supreme Court, now with the breakup, I had to find out what did I miss? Well, I came on the show. I mean, I caught like maybe 5 months. Maybe it was only 5 months they were together. I don't know. And now it's no more. What did I miss? So I would go into the YouTubes to find out. They would say, Kaya T.S. Madison is, T.S. Madison, Kaya this, T.S. Madison. And I would go into like the people who said good thing about Kaya. Please don't sue me, Kaya. I'm really, please don't sue me. And I would go in there to find out what's going on. And they hated the community. I jumped out. I was like, oof, 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 oof. I'm not gay. I'm not lesbian. I'm trying to tell you that it was a transgender woman that brought me into my womanhood, and it's just what it is. I defend them. I protect them. So I didn't like what was coming from the Kaya camp. So I jumped out. So when I jumped back in, Blaine was the only one that I came across that was saying stuff supporting T.S. Madison, and it made perfect sense. So I don't know how many years ago that was that happened, but I would go on and look at Blaine. I didn't know sector. I didn't know the Queen's Court. Please don't sue me. That was really the name of it, and it was a show that came out. I didn't know that was part of a the the beef sector. I didn't know. I didn't know. I So I just started listening to Blaine. Now I knew he was going on talking about these different women, you know. Um, um, he didn't go specifically to women. Blaine, Jay Wilson, Blaine. Anyway, uh, 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 Fire Monster. Or if it was Fire Monster, I don't know because they changed their names. She could have been because there was somebody. Please don't sue me. There was somebody with an alien, a Michelle the alien, and it was a whole thing. And it was a mess. And I looked for Blaine to help it make sense for me. And that's how I got to Blaine. Now, Blaine always talked about he loves being a cult member. So in San Francisco, there's a church. I don't know the denomination of the cult and what they service, but it's a leader and followers. But the leader and followers are all from the community. So Blaine gets into that. Then he'll turn around and cuss somebody out. See, that's how you can tell us. And anyway, I followed him. So I would hear him talk about firemen. I really got to him when he said there's someone named Tracy who lost her page. And I found out that Tracy was the information person and of the beef sector. And I learned about the beef sector from Blaine. So now I'm like, oh, the beef sector. All kind of noise coming out of this body. I keep saying I was going to eat before I come on, but then I don't because I start doing other stuff. So, I thought Blaine was saying B sector, like in ABC. Like they're not the A sectors. Like in my head, I had like a Tasha K. Again, glad Tasha K landed on her feet. Money was exchanged between the two sisters. I ain't mad at nobody. Between this Cardi B and of course the lawyers got it. I hope everybody use African American lawyers. I hope y'all ain't going to give that lawyer money over to somebody else. Tasha K is going on. And look out, pedophiles. Look out when you got the BS, because she's there. She's the dragon at the gate. Anyway, so I thought Blaine was saying B sector, and the A sectors was Tasha K. The A sectors were, I don't know. I didn't look at any of the A sectors. Oh. I would put Flame in the A sector. I see now that Treasure, Spillet Boy, is beef sector, but I really like him. I love his drag, beautiful drag. Flame, beautiful trans. So, that's me. So I'm there. So I got there by my daughter introduced me to T.S. Madison and Kaya. I didn't know they was in the beef sector. I didn't know when the song came out. Please don't sue me. I'm not singing the song. I'm just saying the title. There's a Hater on the Line. I didn't know that basically played into what the beef sector was. See, I learned from Blaine's book. I'm a writer also. And any class you go to, they'll tell you there is truth in fiction. Not all truth, because characters' names have changed, because people sue you and stuff like that. And I look at a Discovery ID all the time where they tell you stuff has changed. So there you go. So I found out from the book, just going, that the beef, BEEF sector, it's women and the community beefing back and forth with one another. When I came to when my daughter introduced me to the Queen's Court, it was humor and it was fun. It was funny, but I didn't know that undertone of that beef. So though they got together, TS and Kaya, they were both in the beef sector, and they came together as a hilarious, entertaining duo. It was ultimately the beef sector that separated them and had them beefing. I mean, lawyers beefing. I mean, stalking beefing. I mean, judge putting gag order on beefing. That's the kind of beefing I'm talking about. Me, I was blown away. Y'all know if I get close to an hour. Cookie must have did 6 hours the other day. Blew my head off. So then it wasn't from reading this book, Murder in the Beef Sector. I like the funny. I understand now what the beef sector is. You got to have a beef going, and I can't do that. Again, from when I was in the cult, one thing cults do with children is they encourage the fighting. It works sometimes to their advantage. If your life is so horrible, you really have to go to Jesus. Your life is so horrible, you have to go and kneel to God. And who makes your life miserable? The people who want you to go to Jesus and go to God. Now, if they didn't make your life miserable, so with my father, his Muslim family fought all the time. He was out there smacking, beating up the wife, and the kids was fighting each other. And then when they got older, him and the kids was fighting, and the wife and everybody just fought. And that's cults. Because he was sticking to different rules. Women are lower than, you do as I say, you shut up, I'm the man, you listen to what I say, do blah 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 blah. And his cult gave him the right to do all those things. His cult told him, you may have to knock everybody around because you're the man. It's the law that says you can't do it, but cults say you can. Especially cults of women stick it out. So what's a couple black eyes? God is going to be happy with you because you stuck it out and took care of this man. Just still clean his clothes and take care of him because he can't do it by himself. So fighting all the time. And then when I went down south with my grandmother and my one aunt, I mean, she still has scars on her from the beating that she got from her husband. And it was like one of them real good beatings where her father said, no, 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 this marriage can be dissolved because you're going to kill my daughter. Then my other aunt, she took a Greyhound bus from Philadelphia to Charleston, South Carolina with 8 kids to come to her mother's house. You know, she couldn't take them ass whoopings no more. I mean, teeth knocked out and everything, lumps upside the head, the whole 9 yards. But her cult told her that that's what she's supposed to do. That's what she's supposed to take. So then you can leave, you can divorce, leave your husband if you have enough scars to prove to the cult that you can't be together. Well, he almost brought me to the brink of death. Well, okay. I guess you can leave him, but go find another man to take care of because you got your whole purpose is to satisfy a man. You have no other purpose but to satisfy a man. So go out there and find you another man. You can get rid of him, go out and find you another man and start all over again. And come back to the cult and bring his money, bring your money. Fighting all the time. So I can't be in the beef sector. I don't like fighting. I don't like that, all that stuff like that. That's to me, that's too culty. That reminds me of the cult. I can't. One thing that the cult that I was involved in, and we found out over time looking at cult, peace, love, and harmony is not what they're about. Control, dominance, and suppression, oppression. But without them, you have peace, love, and harmony. One with nature, one with spirit, one with the universe, one with the elements. So I can't be in the beef sector. I watch Deirdre right now. Dee Darling, class culture. I think I saw something, they said Gigi Darling whammy. She fit right in. And Blaine tells you how to. Anyone can get in this beef sector. You just go in, tell lies, but talk about the people that are already up and tell lies. Try to get information on them, any kind of information, spread it, add some lies to it, and come up every day to go tick for tack with one another. That's what, and I remember because Blaine said one time something happened, and Blaine had stopped with Fire Monster because she had threatened to get his Social Security, contact Social Security and report him for wages earned and maybe a PPP. And I think there's something else too, that she had sent letters to all his neighbors telling some kind of tale. So he was saying it was a lot of people, and somebody else he had to throw into space because they did something. Somebody else they had to throw into space. And then he was alive with it, and he was complaining about somebody else. And they said, "Oh, just go ahead and block him." He said, because I love the way he says, "Honey." He says, "Honey, if I block everybody, who will I have to beef with?" I told Blaine, that's true. If you block everybody, who you gonna beef with? So that's the beef segment. So, but I want to tell you something about Blaine's book. I love it. It's an easy read. I'm not going to get that one about the cult, his book about the cults, but I'm going to get his other book, and hopefully there's not too many cult references in it. But this is an easy read. I like it. It's not a lot of descriptions, but I know exactly what he's describing. Oh gosh, I'm at my minute. I would ask anyone to buy it if you want to know about some about the YouTube videos and the creators and different things like that, especially in this beef sector. Very interesting. I'm reading at my leisure. It's not an emergency. But if I wanted to, I could have gobbled up the book in about an hour and a half. Timothy Blaine, Murder in the Beef Sector. I say get it. You'll learn a lot and you're going to enjoy it. And so far, when I'm done, I'll give my final review. But right now, halfway through and putting all the murder pieces together and see how they find out exactly who did it, I'm very much interested in. And I hope that Timothy Blaine puts out some more books. And I hope they're on the beef sector. And I'll buy it. Yes, indeed. Y'all know I'll buy it. Thanks, Timothy. I don't call him Timothy. Usually when I write, I just say Blaine. Blaine. Excellent job, Blaine. Thank you so much. And hey, that's it for me. See you next Thursday. Get Blaine's book. Did I thank Tyree? Did I thank Tyree and his cousin Sean, Shadow Magnet, and Stay Fly Gear? Because you know what? I wouldn't have the music if it wasn't for Sean Welsh and Tyree Welsh. And Sean Welsh is with Magnet.com. Go on my line, go on my Facebook. I'm public. Go on there and see. I share his stuff. And then Tyree Welsh, he has Stay Fly Gear. And they put the song together for me, and I appreciate them. And I promote them. And soon in the spring, y'all come on. I'll be wearing Stay Fly stuff on my walk. Yeah. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Tyree. Thank you, Shadow Magnet. That's what it is. ShadowMagnet.com. Thank you. And thank you, Stay Fly Gear. Thank you, y'all, for coming on the stoop. Hey, have a good week. See you tomorrow for the walk. See you for the walk.